Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Seven of Cups. This is a really interesting card. There's quite a lot to talk about today and interesting Kate Bush song as well. So please, as always, let me know what you think either about the card or the song. Now, I think almost inevitably we have to start with the Rider-Waite card because it's such a iconic image for this Seven of Cups. And I think we've got a figure here and he almost looks like he's got lots of choices. So he's got lots of different things in these cups, but there don't seem to be genuine choices. They're on a cloud. This is his imagination. This is his fantasy life getting hold of him, and he's escaping into all these wonderful choices he thinks he has, but none of them are really real. So if I just see if I can bring the card up a little bit, I think a really good question to ask is what would be in my Seven Cups. So if I was feeling stressed or worried about something or bored, where do I go to? And the sort of things that Rider-Waite suggests are, I mean, we have these jewels here, which would be pursuit of wealth maybe, or, you know, consumerism, or making like the choice based on money. So like, for example, in my 20s and I had a choice of law firm, I chose the law firm that was going to pay for my legal practice course, even though I much preferred another smaller law firm where I'm sure I probably would have been happier, because they weren't going to pay for that. So sometimes it's just about making the wrong choice or compromising who we are for money, or I think of the castle as like security. So maybe staying in the job you hate because you've got that huge mortgage and you want the nice house, or, you know, spending money on your house and making it look nice, but you can't afford to do that. This would be, I think of this laurel wreath here as, I mean, this is definitely has been a problem for me in the past, sort of seeking accolades, certificates, external reward and praise, and then maybe realizing when you get that praise or that award or whatever that there's a kind of anticlimax. You realize that maybe you wanted something else. You're hungry for the next thing. It can only satisfy you for so long. I think the head, so there's various interpretations of this. It could be like yearning for beauty. It could be vanity, or wanting to stay young forever. Or it could be someone else's beauty that we're admiring, and maybe we're putting someone else on a pedestal rather than seeing our own qualities. The dragon and the serpent, well, they're kind of animal energies. They're definitely related probably to sex, and maybe in terms of the dragon especially kind of anger, like your animal instincts, kind of giving into them and almost enjoying your anger and spite, I suppose, as well. I have listened to Fortune's Wheelhouse podcast, which I definitely recommend, and I'll post a link below. But one of the things that they say about a snake in a cup is that can also signify drugs, which would definitely fit with this card. This middle figure is a strange one, isn't it? It's almost like a Halloween costume of a ghost. And there's probably various interpretations of this. I think of it as spirituality can become escapism in itself. We can use spirituality as a way to not face are demons or reality or what's really happening. And I know I've done that myself. I'll have bought a book or a tarot deck to cheer me up, and on a very superficial level it may have cheered me up for a few weeks, and then the book or deck is forgotten about and I'm looking for the next thing, and I haven't really taken on board or made any real life changes that would have implemented anything that great spiritual text or whatever has said. It's just been like a mood boost. I think also of alcohol when I think of this card and my own relationship with alcohol, which is why I put the Thoth one out. So I think I don't drink now. I haven't drunk for the last 3 or 4 years. And when I did drink, I didn't have a particularly healthy relationship with alcohol. I think in my teens and 20s, I used it because I'm autistic and I didn't realise I was autistic at the time. I think I used alcohol as a way to desensitise myself, to stop overwhelm. And also it was a way to release my inhibitions. And people would say to me things like, oh, you're so much more fun when you're drunk or when you've had a drink. And that was because I felt I could be myself when I was drinking. But then the next day I would feel like this card, not just physically, not just hungover, but that kind of shame and that embarrassment, or, you know, having moments of the evening I couldn't really remember, and taking risks, putting myself in dangerous situations because I was drunk. And when I had a family in my early mid-20s, so that stopped, but I still used alcohol as a way to relax. So I think, oh, well, can I drink now? I've finished work. I'll pour myself a drink and feel myself relax. But then it started to affect my health. I was drinking every night. I have rosacea, and I had such a bad rosacea flare up, and nothing I was doing was working. And I read that it could be linked to alcohol. So I gave alcohol up out of desperation. And then, I mean, it took 6 months for my skin to really recover, but then never returned to it. And my skin seems a lot better now as well. And I won't, though, have one drink. I won't just have a drink, or, you know, to celebrate, or have a glass of champagne or anything, because I know my relationship with alcohol is not healthy enough, and that I will be tempted to go back to that place. So that is kind of one interpretation on one side of the card. I'm just going to show you the Deviant Moon because I think that has an interesting kind of counterpoint to that, which I think presents us with a solution to this. So I think one solution to excess is to just, as I said about alcohol, is to just stop. And I think that's hard. I should say that before I stopped alcohol, I tried a few times before that. And obviously also with the alcohol, I wasn't drinking enough to need kind of medical help or assistance, which could have been the case if I had been a really heavy drinker. So, I mean, it's something you have to be really careful about as well, isn't it? Giving something up suddenly, it can be physically quite risky. But so that is one solution. I think it's very hard. The other solution is to direct this longing, this fantasy life, this imagination, this amazing brain that can create a whole world in our head, to redirect that to something more positive. And I think that is what the Deviant Moon is talking about. So we have quite a different image here. We have an artist. We have someone who relies on their imagination for their work. And if you are a creative person, then the imagination is vital. You don't just want to suppress it. And I'll just read what the guidebook says about this card, because I think it offers us an interesting perspective. The Seven of Cups illustrates the concept of turning life into a masterpiece. Design your own experience and do not conform to anyone's limited expectations. The fantastic ideas roaming around your head need an expressive outlet. Keep in mind that it will take the consistent development of your skills to transmute your daydreams into reality. Know that your imaginative thoughts have the power to reshape the entire world around you. Think abstractly, and your hidden genius will provide innovative results. By looking at mundane situations with a creative eye, you will gain profound insight over any problem you encounter. So completely different, I think, very different take on this card. And I think offering us a solution. And the last thing I wanted to say, this is part of my motivation in creating this strange, homemade, very kind of amateurish deck. Sorry, not to put the card down before I've even shown you, but you know, as I've said before, I'm no artist, and part of me thinks, why am I doing this? But I think there is a deeper, more soulful reason. Right, so let me show you the card I produced. Hopefully you can see that. I've got the opium poppy to kind of represent escapism, and it's also something beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful and seductive. And we have Kate Bush here on my computer, a picture of her. She has got, you can see that, she's got a glass of wine in her hand. This actually just came off the internet. I'm not sure where it came from, sorry. But she's having a drink. So I wanted to include that because of what I've just said about my own personal relationship with alcohol and how it's changed. I mean, you could say that Kate Bush, in a way, is like this figure here. She is someone that I have, or potentially can put on a pedestal, someone I admire. And I think having role models can be motivating, but we have to remember that it's all about our projections, really, and all about what we see of ourselves in this person, because we can never really know them and who they are away from their persona that they present us as an artist. And I think it's important to distinguish that the persona of the artist from real Kate Bush, who is only really known by her family and her friends. I said that I wanted to kind of make the words of this almost like a oracle deck. So something that I could look at the lyrics and reflect on those, as well as the fact it's Seven of Cups. Are you lonely? Are you lost? I think those are the two questions that I need to ask when I've got those cups in front of me. How am I really feeling? What am I trying to escape? What am I really longing for? What is the real thirst? And I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, because are you lonely? Are you lost? This is the human condition. This is how we all feel at some point or other, or perhaps you could say for most of the time, except a few moments. And this is the energy that encourages us to seek God, or to write poems in my case, or, you know, maybe in Kate Bush's case, this is what drives her to write songs. So there's a positive, if we can find a positive outlet to that longing rather than just kind of escapism or drugging ourselves out or doing destructive behavior, self-destructive behavior, if we can find something positive and use our imaginations, this feeling of longing, this loneliness, this feeling of being lost, not knowing where we are, and loss actually, and grief, we can use those positively. So the song is Deeper Understanding from Sensual World. The lines, "Are you lonely, are you lost?" are in an advert in the song for like a computer or computer program. And the idea is that this computer gives this person companionship, but the person gets so addicted to the computer that they don't spend time with real people. So this was written in 1989, and it feels quite prophetic compared to where we are now, doesn't it? I'll just read the chorus, and this chorus is what the computer says. So I've got this trusty book again. It doesn't have every single Kate Bush song, but it does have them nicely presented, and it's nice big print for me to read. So the computer says, "Hello, I know that you've been feeling tired. I bring you love and deeper understanding. Hello, I know that you're unhappy. I bring you love and deeper understanding." But it's just a computer, isn't it? It's kind of like a false comfort, if you like. Although thought it'd be interesting to hear what Kate Bush has to say about this song now, because in 1989, even though we had computers, they weren't so much kind of part of our everyday lives. And I couldn't find anything from recently. In 1989, she compared that chorus, that voice where the computer speaks. She said it was almost like the voice of an angel. So she said that you could see computers quite positively as well, as maybe offering an opportunity to, actually she uses the word a spiritual opportunity. So helping us to see ourselves in a different way, I suppose. And the 1989, the original version in Sensual World, uses trio Bulgarka in the backing vocals for that chorus. And it's really beautiful. And like anything trio Bulgarka sings with those harmonies, there's something incredibly seductive and angelic about it. In the later version in 2011, which is from Director's Cut, and what I'll try and do is link both versions. She remixes that chorus, and it's Bertie singing, and it's through some strange vocal distortion, which someone critic, I think quite rightly, said it sounds like a ZX Spectrum gone wrong. And I think it loses that angelic quality. Now, is that because now Kate Bush is saying she doesn't think computers have that positive element? Or is it, I don't know, just a creative decision? And I mean, I personally prefer the 1989 version. I'd be really interested to know what you think. And if you've got any comments about the Seven of Cups, and I think all the sevens are really interesting energy, and I've only really touched on the surface like I can with any tarot card. This is going to be something that I'm going to think about again and again throughout the year, I think. In particular, this card, this is one I'm going to keep coming back to. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.